Thank you, thank you. We all know the catchphrase, if you don't use it, sell it. This catchphrase belongs to Vinted, a company which allows you to sell second-hand items. Just to see, has anyone in the audience ever sold anything on Vinted? Over there, I see some hands up. If you don't know Vinted by their incredibly, very believable commercials of people vlogging about their experiences.
Met Vinted verkoop je alle jassen, schoenen en tassen die je niet meer draagt supersnel.
You might know them from this. These are not the only ones.
I have been scammed, not just once, but twice.
Yikes. More like, if you don't use it, make a scam out of it. But first things first, what is Vinted exactly and how did it happen that their company became associated with negative reviews and scams instead of the sustainability they aimed for? And why are the French somehow always involved in this? C'est terrible. Vinted was founded in 2007 in Lithuania, from where it grew to France, Germany, Belgium, Great Britain, the USA, and finally in 2019, also the Netherlands. Vinted is an online marketplace for buying, selling and exchanging new but mainly second-hand clothing and accessories. Vinted serves as an intermediary between the buyer and seller. The aim is to reduce products, so you could say Vinted is a sustainable or green company. However, because of the widespread geographical area, the resources necessary to transport the product almost outweighs the reuse of the product. Here, in the Netherlands, Vinted took over the Dutch competitor, United Wardrobe. United Wardrobe was a Utrecht-based startup from the three students Jules Beerde, Thijs Verheul and Thijs Sleukels. The startup was running quite well until the takeover. As a result, the clientele had some complaints about the takeover. On United Wardrobe, a button came up allowing you to move your account directly to Vinted. How clever, you would think. However, the problem is that once you move your account, you cannot sell anything on United Wardrobe anymore. So this means you lose a big market, namely all the buyers who are still browsing on United Wardrobe. This was obviously done so that eventually everyone would move from United Wardrobe to Vinted, and United Wardrobe would become a different platform. This does not apply to all sellers, but the accounts of multiple users have been blocked by Vinted for being too commercial. That's what you are, according to Vinted catalog rules, if you process a lot of transactions, for example, or if you make your own items and then sell them. This means that for United Wardrobe, top sellers, who often put years of time and energy into this, all revenues fell away. There's simply no more money coming in. As Vinted believes sellers should not be too commercial. But that does not apply to the French. The catalog rules, already mentioned before, state the following. Users are either persons who have created an account on Vinted, have accepted the Vinted terms and conditions and are acting as consumers when offering items and making transactions on Vinted. Or sole traders based in France, non-profit organizations, associations or foundations, the pro sellers and pro users who post articles on Vinted in the course of their professional activity. Pro users can register if they meet the criteria listed below. You are a sole trader or a non-profit organization, association with the meaning of the French law of 1st of July 1901, or foundation, duly registered in France. The bottom line is that Dutch top sellers are banned from Vinted for being too commercial, but French pro sellers are allowed to do so. Liberté, égalité, fraternité? What happened to égalité? The founder's reaction to those complaints was less than satisfying. I have no influence on this anymore. It is what it is. Well, the other two founders had no statement. But that's not where the French Revolution ended. You only have to take a look on social media and the French language attacks you.
Je n'ai qu'à appuyer sur ce bouton.
Les derniers achats. Les derniers achats.
J'ai pas acheté sur Vinted de l'année.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, of course, but the problems start to arise when the upscaling that came along with Vinted comes lurking around the corner. Is it really more sustainable and cheaper when your t-shirt has to travel halfway across the continent? Many Dutch users coming from United Wardrobe are therefore dissatisfied with the amount of products that have to come from and go to France. Support your locals doesn't really apply here. So Vinted was off to a rough start in the Netherlands, and it didn't get much better. Like any cyber trade takes place, Vinted is not immune to scams. However, Vinted makes it especially easy to scam users of the platform and Vinted itself, both as a buyer or a seller. And in the case of a scam, Vinted's customer service is nowhere to be found. Of course, we won't leave you hanging. Here are some examples. Miranda wanted to sell her expensive designer coat. Originally, it was 995 euros. She listed it on Vinted and soon enough she got a reply from a buyer in France. She sold the coat to her for 165 euros. Miranda sent the coat in the mail and the buyer received it. And they lived happily ever after. Right? Wrong. Once the buyer received the coat, she complained that the coat had a little mark on the zipper. Somewhat fair. This led to the buyer claiming that the coat was a fake. Less fair. Vinted asked Miranda to confirm that the coat was real, which she did, but Vinted did not believe her. They paid back the buyer and let her keep the coat, because apparently, in the case of fraud, the item does not have to be sent back. So it seems that Vinted sides with the buyer in case of an issue. Good news for the buyers on the platform. You know that Vinted will have your back. Well, it seems like we have another story. One day, Nino was on Vinted, looking for some new sneakers. He found a new pair of Nikes. Barely worn, it said. Nino paid 400 euros to the seller and an additional 20 euros buyer's protection fee to Vinted. With this fee, Vinted promises to protect you in case of a scam. There are some rules though. For example, you need to report any problems with the item within 2 days of receiving the item. This would be a fair criterion if the clock didn't start running the moment the package is sent, not when the buyer receives it. Nino did not receive the package for another 20 days, at which point the time frame to report a faulty product was exceeded. The shoes Nino received were not the Nikes he ordered, they were worn out gym shoes. Nino could only reach Vinted via chatbot, which kept telling him that he was simply too late to get his money back. A bunch of cameras and an angry television personality were needed to finally get this boy his money back. So, both the buyer and the seller can be scammed on Vinted, and the platform does little to help out when this happens. When you feel this powerless, all you can really do is leave a review about the seller. Well, luckily Vinted does help you with this. Even when you don't feel like it, Vinted will leave a review on your place. How nice of them, right? This is how it works. Vinted can give both positive and negative feedback for you. When you have received an item and have not left a review yourself within 4 days, Vinted assumes that you love the product and will leave a positive review in your name. Alternatively, Vinted will leave a negative review if you cancel an order or if the seller sends the package too late and therefore the order is automatically cancelled. So if you buy a cute little dress, but very last minute you decide that maybe a blue dress will suit you better, Vinted will leave a nice little negative review for you about the seller of the previous dress you wanted to wear. Vinted cannot manually edit these reviews. Only the buyer, in which name the review was left, can change it. So the seller has to contact the buyer in order to get it changed. You can leave a comment on all reviews as a seller though. But these automatic reviews can paint a very crooked picture of the quality of a seller. So to summarize, Vinted is an international platform that intermediates the sale of second-hand products. The expansion of the company, including the takeover of United Wardrobe, came at a cost of unfair company policies, resulting in both Vinted and customers being scammed. Customer service is nowhere to be found. So, to go back to their slogan, if you don't use it, sell it, just not on Vinted. Thank you so much.